waterways, our communities, and even the climate, as it were. So I think I'll be introducing our guest when he joins. We're having Dr. Amechi Kelechi this morning, who is the Executive Director of Community Conciliation and Development Initiative. He will help us, expatiate on this, but let's get right into it. Let's start with the journey. Like I said, when a household throws waste into a bin, what ideally should happen from collection to final disposal? In some states, we have these designated trucks, you know, that are covered so that your waste does not even spill by the roadside as they drive. So it is also supposed to be moved to a place where it will be
that. Oh, thanks to that. And I wish to say thank you so much for running this program, for this very powerful enlightenment program on climate and our environment. So most people, most citizens, most of us do not really connect how we dispose our waste with climate change, because they do not really see a connection. But there is, and there are connections with how we dispose our waste and the climate. For example, if you look around the city, especially in the urban and semi-urban areas, you have a lot of dump sites, dump sites everywhere. And that dump site, from the dump site, you maintain gas is emitted into the atmosphere, which is even more, would I say, dangerous than the carbon dioxide that most people talk about. So, but people don't realize this. So the way we dump our refuse, the way we dump our waste around our residential areas, and the way we also manage it and treat it has an impact on the climate. From these greenhouse gases that you've mentioned, like methane, which is really, really, adversely potent to our health and the environment. It impacts, the climate, and it creates extreme weather conditions, like we've noticed in recent times. How the rain, in fact, we're now chasing August break. Nobody can identify August break anymore. It used to be that that this certain period in August, maybe first, second, or third week to the end of August, it is August break. So you have a little respite, a little of dry season. People can now plan themselves. But what we have done, because of these gases that are emitted into the atmosphere, and it creates warmer weather and climate conditions, it comes back to impact us. So people do not understand that. That also affects the soil. The way we dump our waste also affects the soil. So if you do not disaggregate those recyclable materials like plastics, metal, or organic materials like food that could be used, or degradable materials that could be used as a composite, manure, you will allow those recyclable materials to remain in the soil, and it will definitely have impact on the nutritious content of the soil. It will corrode the soil. It will make the soil less fertile, and for farming and other uses, including underground water and surface water. So it has a direct impact on climate change. These gases that are emitted from dump sites and are not properly managed or regulated.
Thank you so much, Doctor. And if you are just tuning in, you are on to Climate Care on Women Radio WFM 91.7. You can join us. To be a part of the program, you can dial the phone line 0700 0917 917, 09155 917 917. You can call the toll-free line 0800 1235 917, or drop us a WhatsApp message on 07031756537 or 08155917917. Do well to watch us on YouTube at WFM 917, or on our social media handles at WFM 917, or you can even listen on the go at www.wfm917.com. You are still tuned into Women Radio WFM 91.7, and the time is 17 minutes before 12 noon. The show is Climate Care, and we are discussing, where does your waste really go? Every household, I bet you, always has one waste or the other. And the journey after the bin is what we are discussing with Dr. Amaechi Kelechi Justin. Dr. Justin is the Executive Director, Community Conciliation and Development Initiative, and we've been on this for a bit. So I want to quickly ask the next question. So can West actually become an economic opportunity? Because here we don't just discuss issues, we're also looking at the opportunities that it brings to us as citizens. And what can Nigeria gain from? Because I listened to you and you mentioned recycling, and how to disaggregate some of this waste. So what can Nigeria gain from recycling, composting, reuse, repair, and other circular economy approaches?
So the opportunities for using waste like the normal, the conventional cliche has always been waste to wealth. So there's an opportunity here for waste to wealth. And we need to also understand that you just mentioned something that is very instructive, that every household produces waste. And so relate that to the population of Nigeria, 200 billion plus and going to 250 million people maybe by 2030 or thereabout. It means there is significant waste in Nigeria that we can possibly turn into wealth. And that's what I mentioned, recycling. So if we recycle, and the recycling industry is a multi-million-dollar industry, from plastics to clothing to metals. I mean, some of the richest people in Port Harcourt are people who pick metals. Do you know that? Some of the richest people in Port Harcourt are people who collect metals and resell, as waste materials for recycling and all of that. So there is enormous capacity or potential to create wealth, economic wealth, for manure in terms of using the organic materials like food waste to turn it into compost manure for agriculture. So, but for you to achieve that, we need to learn how to manage what I call it. It's still appropriate to say the waste value chain. It actually has a value chain from the point of collection at home to transportation, sorting it, recycling or reusing, and would I say treating it. In fact, in advanced societies, there are societies you go to in the global north, the water they even drink comes from recycled water, from their feces and all of that. They recycle all of that and turn it to usable water. So here we are, and I don't know, some non-governmental organizations here in the Niger Delta have started some initiative around that waste to wealth, where when you pick plastics and they weigh it, they pay you, either give you a voucher that you can use to shop and all that. People are making shoes, people are making other kinds of materials, house furniture, other aesthetic, valuable things, fashion and design like earrings, what do you call them? These fashionable rings, jewelries and all of that. People are using, renewable or recyclable materials to turn to wealth. And all this brings money. When you recycle those materials and produce new products, but for us to achieve that, we need to learn and know how to disaggregate our waste. You separate the plastics from the metals, from the organic materials and other, degradable materials. So you're able to now, when you sort them, you're able to send them to the different, users that will be able, or people who can turn them into other forms of, usable materials that are worthy of that can yield profit, that can become economic goods. You understand? So but it needs to be, it has to be a government policy to drive it. If there are no government policy that will, incentivize the private sector to begin to invest in recycling of materials, then it wouldn't work. It wouldn't be an opportunity for wealth creation. It will continue to be waste. So what we need to do, there has to be government policies that would back this initiative of turning waste to wealth. So there are boundless opportunity for economic and agricultural gains to manage our waste value chain appropriately.
Thank you so much. I mean, you have rightly discussed it in depth. If we're able to manage some of these things, I have seen people who deal largely on, plastic bottles, and they sell trailer loads of it, because in Nigeria we consume a lot of these things. And I mean, that is also wealth creation in itself. And as I look at my time is never on our side on this show, but I would not miss to ask this important question as we begin to round up. What can an average household realistically do? Because we don't want people to listen to us. Now for them, concern us. We want, what can household, because if listeners want to reduce their environmental footprint starting today, what are the 3 most important changes they can make? We want low-hanging fruits that our listeners can at least tap into.
So we are a consumption economy. We are not really a production economy, if I may use that word. So we consume a lot. And it is not bad. When you consume a lot, that means there's a whole lot of commerce going on, transactions, money exchanging hands, services, products, and all that. It is good to some extent. So what we need to do, being that we're consumer or consumption oriented, is that people need to prioritize what they actually need to reduce consumption. We're not saying you shouldn't enjoy your wealth or you shouldn't eat as much as you want, but you should learn. We should, first of all, households should learn to purchase only the things they need. There are houses you go to, they have so many that clothing or furniture that they don't use, and it becomes waste. Those are the things that turn out to be waste. But if there are products or materials that you constantly use, they won't easily become waste. It will take longer time. But when you buy things you do not use, people buy so much that they do not really need. So first of all, we need to change that behavior. It's a behavioral thing. Most of the things around waste management, climate, is about our behaviors. Because whatever has happened to our environment and climate is as a result of human activities. It is the human activities that created this climate, adverse climate situation that we have, presently. So we need to first of all change our behavior on how we consume. It is the excessive consumption of products that creates this quantum of waste that we are unable to manage, right? Because right now we're not managing our waste well. So what we do, the first thing that we need to do as household is to reduce consumption, particularly, especially those things we do not necessarily need. We need to reduce the consumption of those things. Secondly, we need to learn to sort our waste. How to disaggregate our waste, how to separate our waste. So that way it is easier for those at the other end, at the back end, to be able to turn them to wealth, to reusable materials. Then the other thing, we need to also target the kind of products we buy. We need to target recyclable, reusable products. There are products you see labels reusable, recyclable. So when you're buying, when you're making purchases, whether in the market or supermarket, look out for products that are reusable or recyclable. And in terms of policy, again, this has to do with government. We can say supermarket needs to reduce the use of polythene bags, that's plastic bags and all of that. by 30 or 70%, and they'll get this. So people are advised to bring their own bags when they come for shopping, and you use more of paper bags or reusable. I have one recyclable hand woven bag at home that I use for shopping. You understand? I no longer use a plastic basket for shopping. So those are some of the kind of policies we can change. That supermarket should, maybe reduce price, give discount, not reduce, give discount to people who come to the supermarket to buy with their own bags, and more discount will be given to those who come to the supermarket with recyclable or reusable bags. So it has to. It's not just about household, but it also about what policies government, and especially people in the legislature. Sometimes you don't even know what they do, because you hear a legislator want to tout what he or she has done. They start telling you they build schools, they build hospitals, they do that. As a legislator, that's not really the core of your responsibility. Your responsibility is to come up with legislation that will change behavior, that will change practice, that will reform the law and make society better than you made them. So policies like this or legislations like this, that supermarkets can give this, and those supermarkets will benefit from tax rebate or some kind of rebate or holiday for driving this government policy. You see how it is connected: household, businesses, and government. That tripod needs to come together. There has to be that synergy. That's the value chain. That's how it needs to work. You can't, household alone cannot create the kind of significant change we want within our environment and how we manage our waste. So household on one side, businesses on the other side, and government will come with policy or legislation that will drive practice and give us the kind of environment and management that we want.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for coming on the show. As always, we've had a very insightful 30 minutes or less than 30 minutes. I wish time is always on our side. But, as we said, there is no away with your waste. You should know that everything we throw away goes somewhere. So before we ask how to dispose of our waste, perhaps we should ask, how can we reduce what we waste in the first place? I mean, that should be a valid question. And I want to say a very big thank you for listening to Climate Care on Women Radio WFM 91.7. Special thanks to our guest, Dr. Amaechi Kelechi Justin. Thank you for joining and sharing insights. Special thanks to my producer, Aisha Sani, and our executive producer, Tom Okewale Shonaya. I'm Susan Lechi Ihoma. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, remain climate conscious, and have a fantastic weekend. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Kelechi. Thank you for having me. And apologies once again for my lateness. It won't happen.
No problem.
Thank
you. No problem. Right. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic weekend.
Same here, all of you too, at the studio. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
See you again.